It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, if you look at that gigantic, sharp, interactive board, you'll see some logos of our friends in the industry. A lot of those OEMs out there that we love, right? And folks, I'm asking the question, are the industry's actors ignoring another end of the day with Ray warning? And it scares the hell out of me because I believe they are. You know, it was back in 2018 when I declared the A4 revolution, and I got a lot of crap for that. All through 2018, 2019, 2020, global pandemic happens. My vision, what I really believed was going to happen, got expedited by about 8 years probably. And now that's all anybody talks about is A4. Unfortunately, most of the OEMs still have no A4 strategy. They ignored the warning back in 2018. I mean, I was getting OEM leaders calling me up complaining, oh, Ray, you're being unrealistic. This is absurd. Dealers can't just start selling a bunch of A4s. It'll drop their... All this nonsense. It had nothing to do with end users. It was all about leaders of OEMs trying to save dysfunctional processes for the benefit of the industry, not its end users. I mean, I'm like, what? That is so dysfunctional, it's crazy. And folks, in 2023, I started the Inkjet revolution. And I'm talking about selling Inkjet in businesses. I really do believe that office printing will be more Inkjet-based than laser-based. I truly believe this. That's why I started the Inkjet revolution in 2023. But I'm seeing a lot of similarities. People are ignoring. And sooner or later, they're going to wake up and they're going to realize, holy crap, we had no strategy. We had no roadmap for Inkjet. And I got to tell you, it'll be really good for the player that actually has a strategy, that actually developed office printing Inkjet, black and color, because they'll be able to sell all the other OEMs their machines. Seriously. I cannot believe that the industry's actors are going down the same road they went down with the A4 revolution. The similarities are staggering. So let's jump on the board. I want to share some thoughts with you. You know, back in 2020, ENX interviewed me as part of that Difference Maker Award. Someone nominates you, you win the award. You know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I said something in that interview, and I want to read it. I'm a disruptor, and sometimes disruptors are despised and sometimes applauded. That's really what I believe. Many believe they are disruptive. However, their fear of being despised scares them into complacency, and they seek being applauded. In my case, I don't fear upsetting status quo more than I fear being defeated by complacency. Our industry's got to get past the fear of being despised. Seriously, that's what they think. If I speak up, if I say something, people are going to be mad at me. Get over it. Because if you know it's something that needs to be said, say it. Especially if you're some old folks in the industry that run around trying to be applauded all the time. What's that old saying that we've all heard before? If you try to make everybody happy, you'll make nobody happy and you look like a damn idiot. We got a lot of folks doing that. And a lot of folks are looking like a damn idiot. It's time to speak up. It's time to share what you believe. It's time to have arguments with those who don't believe as you. Publicly have arguments about it. God, wouldn't that be fantastic? Instead of all these canned webinars we go on where you can't even ask any damn questions. It's just a bunch of nonsense going on in our industry during its biggest disruption. And I'm going to do everything I can to continue to disrupt the hell out of the complacency of the industry. You ready for the next slide? Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting fired up. I'm getting excited about going to Printing United. The office printing industry is going to be more A4 inkjet based than A3 laser based. Believe me and prepare. And if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? What do you got to lose? But I'm not wrong. And I wasn't wrong about the A4 revolution either. Our laser-based OEMs are still discussing new A3 coming in 2028. I don't see any plans from any of the OEMs regarding inkjet. I mean, I really don't. Not in the office printing. They don't even want to talk about it publicly. And they need to. Because it is deja vu what happened in 2018 as I waited. 2018, 2019, 2020, global pandemic happens. Then all of a sudden, the analysts, they stop trying to, make fun of me with the A4 revolution. They start joining in on it. I mean, even the old guy that does the videos was talking about A4. We got to give some respect to A4. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, the inkjet revolution will be won. And I don't want to see the A4 revolution all over again with the procrastination from all of my friends. Today's episode is to kind of fire you up. Who among the OEMs actually has an inkjet roadmap for office printing? And folks, you know, we're in 2023. I start the inkjet revolution. I'm going to 2027. I'm still seeing stuff published. In 2028, we're going to have more A3s. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we got Kyocera, Epson, and Rizzo, who I believe could dominate the office printing based in inkjet. Kyocera, I've been beating the hell out of them for a long time, right? I mean, every time I go through their numbers, bring that crap downstream, right? I keep yelling at them. Our friends at Epson, I've yelled at them a few times because I think they're nuts. I mean, seriously. I don't think they have a strategy. I think they're going into dealers and they're just focused on being part of the laser-based world instead of making the laser-based world part of them. I look at my friends at Rizzo. Rizzo has some great technology. They have a black-only inkjet machine that they could easily make a true MFP in the hallway and start disrupting the hell out of laser. But all these things, all these disruptions, it takes, well, I guess, you know, you got to be able to be despised. You got to be able to shake things up. And I'm going to tell you right now, Kyocera, Epson, and Rizzo, you're going to lose your opportunity to shake things up if you don't wake up and start realizing the potential you have. Because I think you got a massive potential. I think about that Rizzo. I mean, they got this black-only Rizzo. It looks like an MFP, right? It is a damn MFP. Put it in the hallway and start replacing a whole bunch of black machines. I did an episode on it when I went through their numbers, their last quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to start shaking things up. The laser people, guess what? Pretty soon you're going to be living in an inkjet world. It's not going to be the other way around. And more lasers are going to be wiped out by inkjet. Rizzo, get out there and fight. I think about our friends at Kyocera with that Task Alpha Pro 15,000C. What an amazing product. By the way, now Xerox is selling it, right? You see? Xerox being the largest dealer in the world, they're not an OEM. They're going to look for products that are out there, you know, and at the end of the day, Kyocera, maybe they tighten that relationship up even more. I'm going to share something in today's episode that might blow your minds around that. But ladies and gentlemen, inkjet in the production space, getting a lot of momentum. If we can do inkjet in the production space, why the hell can't we do it in the office space? It's ridiculous not to be fighting for that business. Kyocera launches mono inkjet. Ladies and gentlemen, this was an article in Print Week, July 4th of 2023. And they have the Task Alpha B, the same machine, only black and white. And we don't even hear about that here in the United States, right? We're not even talking about it. But they have the product. I mean, I guess they're selling them in Japan. They're selling them in Europe. They got one or two out there. This was just something they're experimenting with. But the fact of the matter is they did it. Okay, it's a real product. You're telling me they can't bring that downstream? Of course they can. The question is, when the hell are they going to do it? Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Kyocera a second. Because I do believe that Kyocera, this is factual, okay, is in the strongest financial position to disrupt the hell out of business printing. When I went through their financials for their first quarter for FY that they're in right now, which will be FY 2026 for Kyocera, ladies and gentlemen, they got $9.5 billion in KDDI stock. KDDI is the largest telecom company in Japan. And their founder, Amori, was part of KDDI. And they made a great investment. They sold 1.7 billion of it in June. After taxes, it was 1.4 billion in the coffers for Kyocera. They want to sell at least 3.4 billion of it by the end of 2027. I suggest they sell all 9.5 billion of it and they go out and do something really disruptive. And one of the things they could do is bring office inkjet printing at a scale that no one can compete with. They'll own the market. They could do it. They could do to office printing what HP did to printing way back when. They owned it because they came out with a desktop printer and everybody needed a printer back then, right? And who owned the market? Who still has the largest market share of A4 desktop stuff? It's HP. Kyocera, you could have the largest market share in the world of office printing if you change the damn game in the world and come out with inkjet for office. This is a hell of an argument, and I hope my friends at Kyocera are listening because they have a huge potential with a boatload of cash. And they're the only ones with boatloads of cash. We've seen the financials over there at Konica Minolta. What a train wreck mess, right? We've seen the financials at Ricoh. They could barely make any operating profit. Is Kyocera having problems with operating profit as a whole conglomerate right now? Yeah, they are. They're making adjustments. They're getting rid of some revenue by divesting of some things. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I showed you not too long ago where they went 16 years without ever losing any money. I mean, seriously, they've never had below the line operating profit in 16 straight years. They're a player that the industry needs to take serious. And Kyocera, I think you need to take yourself serious, consider yourself a major disruptor, and go disrupt. You know, I've been talking about Inkjet in business for a while. These are reality conversations about Inkjet. I remember talking with Oscar and Dustin back in 2023, in 2024, talking again with Oscar and Dustin, talking about Inkjet. Every time I talk to them, when are you going to bring that crap downstream? When are you going to bring that crap downstream? Putting the pressure on them. I'm the only one in the industry that's even asking them that damn question. Our friends at Rizzo, 2024, Printing United. These were all Printing United. By the way, I cannot wait to go again. And I'll be talking to these folks again. I'll be asking the same damn questions. We got to get ready to shake things up. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read this because I want to make sure I say what I was really thinking. I want to be clear. I'm not in any way telling office technology providers to sell inkjet textile printing equipment, and the fact that Konica Minolta should emphasize why I have zero confidence in them ever again becoming a highly profitable company. This is Konica's answer to Inkjet. Let's go tell the dealers that they could sell textile inkjet printing. It's totally a distraction, totally stupidity. This is Konica Minolta insanity being perpetrated through the office technology reseller industry's media. Should also emphasize why there's a need to challenge the industry's media. When I challenge the industry's media, I don't do it because I'm mean, I'm trying to be hateful. I do it because they need to get challenged. Some of the stuff they do is totally insane. And they're giving platforms for people to go and talk about just complete insanity and hide from reality. And that needs to be challenged, especially in our industry as we're being totally disrupted. You know, I was at that Sharp meeting. And folks, the keynote speaker, he was awesome, Duncan Waddle. And I want to talk about the what if around Inkjet. So here's the rules for our industry's laser mindset. Annuity on output, cost per copy, laser tone or color at 5 cents, right? That's the rule, right? I mean, I guess maybe some of the OEMs, I'm thinking maybe Konica Minolta will sell color for 2 cents or something. But anyway, that's probably why their financials are a mess. 1 to 5 year leases on hardware. Physically servicing products. Having parts and supplies on hand. Warehouses full of crap. That's our business model. Technicians going out doing service calls. Here's my what ifs. What if customers paid for services needed and paid for supplies when needed? Ending cost per copy service. What if that happened? Well, you could do that with Inkjet. A lot of you are going to think, oh, that'd be terrible, that'd be terrible, that'd be terrible. We're going to lose all this money. Well, you're going to lose it anyway when the customers decide they want a better experience. And 5 year leases, cost per copy contracts, all this crap, overages and nuts. It's just nuts, and people are getting tired of it. What if end users had flex payment terms, all initiated through digital financing, with options outside status quo? Ladies and gentlemen, there's all kinds of ways to pay for things now. My gosh, you put something on your charge card, you get an email from the charge card company. Do you want to put that on a payment plan? I'm like, no, I bought a beer for $12. I don't need to pay for it over 6 months. But could you imagine what you could do with hardware? Could you imagine the things you could do, the way customers could pay? It could be crazy, so much different than status quo leasing we all have today. What if MFP had nearly no parts? Could you imagine? Could you imagine having an MFP in an office that didn't even have any parts? I mean, seriously. It was built that good? Well, if you look at some of these Inkjet folks, guess what? They don't have a whole lot of parts. Could you imagine? What if end users did their own service? Holy smokes, people are freaking out when I say that. Because physical needed servicing was cut by 90%. What if the machine didn't even need a tech to go to it? And what was left for someone to fix, the end user could do it. See, some of you can't even comprehend that. But I'm just asking the question, what if? Because sooner or later, that question I just asked, what if, will be a reality. Service performance is an outdated measurement. I love how I talk to my friends and they talk about how great their service is. Our service is so great. We show up on time, we get there early, and we fix stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, today's end users are seeking better experiences. Keep in mind, needing service interferes with great experiences. That's a fact. In other words, your customers don't want to evaluate your service, how good you are every time you show up. They want to evaluate products that don't need you to show up. That's where they get a better experience. And if our industry continues to believe that they have to show up to people's offices and bother them, put those crazy diapers on the floor so they can rip a whole bunch of parts out and put it back into a machine, drive to and from the office to get the parts they forgot, if they think that's a good experience, they're out of their minds. You might classify it as good service, mediocre service, but customers, they want a customer experience, and they want those experiences to be exceptional. And in order for an experience to be exceptional around a product, it doesn't need to be service. It doesn't need any human intervention. And what little it might need, they can just do it themselves and speed up the process. I want to end with this. True disruptors don't compete with a status quo mindset. True disruptors compete against the perception found in status quo mindsets. Ladies and gentlemen, our industry's got a lot of status quo thoughts. Got a lot of status quo leaders. Got a lot of leaders just sitting on the fence hoping nothing happens till they retire. Those people make me sick to my stomach. What we need is we need people to go out there and disrupt. What we need is we need media and analysts that'll do their damn jobs and challenge the industry, not pacify their status quo. We need dealers out there to pressure their OEMs. Because if you don't pressure the OEMs, dealers, to help you go where the customers are going, you're going to get left behind. Because maybe the OEM you're working with doesn't want to do anything different, wants to maintain this comfort, but another OEM decides to shake things up. Well, guess what? They might already have a dealer in your territory, so you're going to be left behind. It's time for our industry to have conversations. It's time for our industry to have debates. It's time for our industry to get the hell off the fence and fight for relevance. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see you all tomorrow.